The BRICKLINK Designer Program is keeping LEGO Castle alive in 2025, so today we're going to be taking a look at my top picks for medieval castles and playsets from the Series 6 submissions. And for anyone who isn't aware, the BRICKLINK Design Program lets fans submit their mock designs, and then us, the wider LEGO community, can vote on turning some of these into real limited edition sets. And I'm also giving away 3 free sealed Dragonborn Paladins. I'll be announcing the winner on the 30th of October, and all you need to do to enter is subscribe to the channel and comment down on this video. So let's step through this medieval portal designed by Minifig in Space and begin our quest with the Outlaw Den, which is my favourite Wolfpack stronghold from all of the Series 6 submissions. I think the black tower rising up in the centre feels menacing and imposing, and of course the contrasting red Wolfpack banner really pops out at you as a result. Moving down the build, we get some very detailed rock work which feels quite realistic, and I also really like the base level where we can see the splashes of colour for the trees and the mushrooms, which give this feeling that the Wolfpack Den is part of the forest. In terms of size, it does come in at 2,500 pieces, which is kind of mid-range. It comes with around 8 Wolfpack minifigures, and also the horse and carriage, which always adds some playability to medieval scenes. But you can also open this set up, displaying it from the front with the working portcullis in use, and getting a much wider profile for display. And that means you can also fully access the back and the interior. It is a little bit cramped in some of the rooms, but there are also some great details like the armory and this room where this old Wolfpack leader can drink and plan for war. I'm not really sure why there is a carrot hanging on the wall, but I'm here for it. Moving on to number 2, we have the Lion's Keep, a very authentic looking medieval castle. Now, we did get the Lion Knight's castle pretty recently, and so it would be good to see another classic castle faction get a stronghold. And the first thing that struck me about this design was the subtle but effective choices of colour. I really like the use of dark tan for some of the stonework, along with the sloping dark grey rock work, which can often feel a little bit basic, but here it really elevates the Lion Keep itself. As for the minifigures, you get a nicely sized Lion Knight's army, but also it's great to see the 2 Wolfpack members included on their little raft, ready to cause some mischief. The build itself comes with 4,000 pieces, which is pretty big, and it does open and close fully, as well as being modular, and the way that the designer has made it so allows for a huge amount of playability. I, of course, always like to see a detailed interior, and it does provide that with sleeping chambers, an armory, and also a kitchen down at the bottom. There's a prison cell off to the side, and some more storage areas, and while I would prefer to see another faction stronghold, I really wouldn't say no to this design. It's just that good. But on to number 3 next, with the medieval toll bridge. As a set concept, being able to have one faction on either side of the bridge is really great for storytelling, and the minifigure lineup includes 5 Wolfpack members, but best of all, 3 new peasant designs, who the Wolfpack appear to be charging this tolling tax to. As for the build itself, it does come in with 2,700 pieces, and I think it's pretty clever how the bridge turns from that mossy green rockwork into the darker grey stone, and then finally the light grey brickwork, because it just gives it a really natural finish, and it's a great blend of colour again, with the black and red of the Wolfpack contrasting against the bridge. The Wolfpack banners are just so iconic, it's hard to beat them, and they do come up quite a few times throughout this video. But next up, we have one of my favourites, the Viking Fortress, which is an updated Series 5 design that was previously titled the Mouldy Rock. Now, this set is absolutely packed full of details and fun play features, and as a big fan of Viking and Anglo-Saxon history, and also all the movies and TV shows, this really feels like an old wooden fort taken over by the Vikings and built into their own fortress, which is really historically accurate. And I just think that combination of the grey stonework and the brown wood displays really nicely, especially with the vibrant greens, reds and oranges popping out with the finished design. As for the minifigures, we get a pretty fantastic array of characters with some new Viking designs and also some peasants and workers, and the designer has included a little Easter egg with a Wolfpack prisoner. The main build is genuinely stunning and comes in with 4,000 pieces, but the thatched roofs and the use of small details everywhere means that everything hits you feeling finished and very realistic. It doesn't really feel like any of those pieces have been wasted. It again opens out fully, and what I really love about it is that when it's closed, it feels like a medieval fort with a small market stall and the round tiles adding in the stone path, giving you a contained little medieval world with just this one set. The back displays almost as well as the front as well, giving you a really clean courtyard style area with space to display some of the minifigures. And I think this is one of the most original Series 6 medieval submissions, that mix of Nordic and Viking style with those medieval medieval castle elements is something I really like to see. At number 5 here, we have the Bandit Lord's Hideout, which just strikes you from the first with its menacing and imposing look. It comes in with 3,100 pieces and includes 9 minifigures, giving us 2 Lion Knights, along with 6 Wolfpack members and 1 peasant lady. And the way the designer has built this just takes you on a little journey. Starting at that small bridge area at the front, the dark grey bricks work really well here and give that imposing look. It provides a nice change from the light grey that we see everywhere in medieval castle builds. I really love the lava and volcanic black rock around the base. It gives it a striking fantasy feel, a bit like Barad-dûr, but then the actual structure has all of these fantastic details like the stained glass windows and the miniature pagoda. And spinning it around, we get a compact but finished interior. The designer has pointed out all the different rooms, and although they are a little bit cramped, they do have authentic details, and considering how impressive that front display is, I think it's doing a pretty fantastic job of fitting any interior in at all. It's a partly modular set, which helps with accessing some of those rooms and displaying the minifigures, and we also have a lot of play features packed in, which is great to see. Moving on to number 6 with a non-castle, but still medieval design, with the Ragged Crow Inn. Now this is a 4,000 piece set, so right at the top end, but every detail of this build really delivers. It's pretty much the perfect inn or tavern style build for any medieval or fantasy Lego world, and because of the detailed architecture, it really displays well from every angle. I particularly like the stone roof and the smaller parts being used to create that more realistic feeling to each individual section. Is modular, with each interior level being accessible, which is also great to see, and the minifigure lineup makes it a more versatile and fun medieval set, with a Wolfpack member hiding out along with a bandit, a musician, and the inn's owner. But if you aren't looking for another castle, then this is one of the best medieval submissions from Series 6. At number 7 here we have the Witch's House, which is just packed full of witchcraft lore and really intricate building techniques. It has 2,600 pieces, which is actually not that much considering how detailed the build is, and the designer has included a wonderful quote explaining how this witch is a healer and lives close to nature, and I think they've really captured that with the main build. It has some of my favourite stonework across the whole of Series 6, and I also love the stream with the fish jumping out of the water, and the way that the nature is creeping out of the house itself. And so next up, I want to go through some of the other fantastic designs that have been submitted for Series 6. I would have covered every single medieval submission if I had the time, but an honourable mention goes to the Brick Knight's Castle, which is a really nostalgic and classic design that captures some of the original Lego castle magic. There's also 3 excellent smaller Wolfpack playset designs. Renegades of the Old Castle is a smaller castle playset, while the Wolf's Den includes a ruined watchtower with a fantasy griffin build. And the Ruffian Stronghold captures some more of the classic Wolfpack castle magic with a black and red fort style playset. I also really like the medieval construction site, which is a more unique build with some very authentic historical details. The Witch's Tower captures the dark fantasy witch really nicely and actually would pair perfectly with the Wizard's Tower. I think the angles the designer was able to get are really impressive. But let me know what you think of all of these submissions. Which ones are you going to be voting for? And make sure to subscribe for more Lego Castle and medieval content. But as always, thank you guys for watching.